don't.
Hello
Catch me
and
in
welcome everybody back to the Dumbass class with me, the Dyslexic Gamer, and the boys as normal. Always, whatever. Shout out to Hook Sounds for providing all your free music needs. Quotation mark, they have copyright claimed me for using all the free music that I would like and need. Meh. So, we are starting up a brand new game with some Rogue Trader. So, to waste no more time, we will jump straight into it. So, our location is in the northwest of the galactic map. It is in a place known as Lucky Space. And as the ship arrives, we shall go back a little bit more. So approximately 4 weeks ago, our group of Imperial servants, shall we call them? These lucky individuals who had found themselves not in the wheel. They had somehow, with either skill, deception, or maybe charm, or just good family lineage, had found themselves free of the yoke of normal Imperial life. Gaining the skills that they needed, these soon-to-be rogue traders or rogue trader crewmen had found themselves with a touch of freedom. Our rogue trader himself, unfortunately, was not at the shipyard where his ship was being repaired. Perhaps a cousin, a friend, or someone else had invited you to vacation with them whilst this was happening. Vital repairs, or maybe your ship was actually getting completely refitted. I'll leave that to you to decide. But you had to go to a different planet for whatever reason. For the rest of you, who are not so lucky to be a rogue trader, you were on transit. You were assigned to a rogue trader ship, maybe actually an Imperial Navy ship, or a guild ship, one of thousands that cart cargo around the Imperium. But fortunately, or unfortunately, perhaps the fates were aligned, you all ended up, all the Imperials anyway, ended up on the same transport heading to the same shipyard. But unfortunately for you, the Imperium is a cruel, cruel place. The excitement you must have felt heading towards that shipyard, towards your new destinies, was cut short. Perhaps panic, fear gripped you as the ship that you were on, the transport craft, began to shake. Alarms began to blurt, and all too soon, combat had started. It didn't take long, in naval terms, for your ship's defences to be overwhelmed. But not the cruel fate of death and the sweet re-embrace from the God Emperor would await you, no. All you Imperials were captured. It doesn't matter how much of a fight you put up, it doesn't matter how hard you tried to resist, you were captured. For the astropath in the group, you were clearly noticeable. For a blind individual to be in such robes to denote themselves, a null collar was placed around your neck.
I do have the unremarkable talent.
You would still be blind and segregated from most of the general crew. Being an astropath, you would not have been in separate quarters. Being an astropath and a psyker, Imperial law dictates that you must be marked. You must be shown to be a psyker, or a member of the Astrotelepathica at the least. And your captors would have known. Can all the Imperials please roll me willpower tests? as there was no way to overcome the sounds of large, heavy, metallic boots and that augmetic voice. You were captured by the renegade Astartes.
Flat.
Yes, flat willpower for this one, because this is a starting thing for you all.
What does this count as? Fear?
Yes, so it would technically count as a fear check, and this comes with insanity. So, Albie, can you roll yourself a 1d5?
Does jaded count? Because that
No.
sounds rather mundane.
No. This is chaos. Corrupted Astartes are not mundane. They are far beyond. Remember, the Astartes are the angels of the god Emperor. You are indoctrinated to believe that they are. So for you to find out that they are not, and they have come to capture you and enslave you, would be a traumatic event. Don't worry, you can get rid of insanity in this game.
Still, great start.
Abby, you take 1 insanity.
Oh, okay.
No. Albie, you take 5, but Abby, who is unit, takes 1.
Okay.
And have we lost a Geddy at the moment? Yes, we have. So he will get to roll later on when he returns. So it took you 4 weeks of travel. This was 4 weeks. This was not a pleasant experience in the least. There was at least 2 warp trips. You would have known this through the shaking and vibrating of the ship and the hull. The first transit has a stop off, and you would at very least notice the whining and wailing of different enslaved individuals. Perhaps they were being transported somewhere else. Perhaps another ship has arrived and trading valuable cargo. Jim, motherfucker, never mind. We'll carry on. So your first 2 weeks are quite a traumatic time. You were barely fed. You were put into cramped cells for the most part. The astropath would have been placed in a cell on her own. All the other Mechanicus personnel would also have been put into a cell together, and normal Imperials, non-augmented, would go into a cell on their own. So Geddy's character would be with a large number of individuals. Corrupted servo skulls would be their guard, essentially. For the Adeptus Mechanicus member, there'd be a much smaller number of your people, maybe like 25, 30 to begin with. For the Astropath, again, you're pretty rare as it is, and they've segregated all of your peoples into their own group. Oh no, we're having a number of problems this episode. They've all decided to arrive as we start. So, after the 2 weeks has changed, for Geddy, who's not here at the moment, about 80% of the individuals in his cell are transferred somewhere else. A huge Astartes walks in. He has a purple, no, Yes, he has a purple and gold trim. Or the Astartes that come in are purple and gold trimmed. I bet I've got that wrong now, but never mind. Soldiering on. Trying to find his token. No, sorry, they are black and gold. Black grey with a gold trim. Ooh, now I'm fucking up again. So the Mechanicus member, you would find that almost all of your tech priest brothers and sisters have been taken. Only 5 of them have been left on the ship. So, Jim.
Yes, sorry, I'm back.
That's quite alright. Your character was doing what they were doing when the corrupted Astartes came. You were taken prisoner, and maybe 5 or 6 days. No, it'd be less than that. It's a very short trip. So maybe 3 or 4 days in the warp. Hang on. Let's have a look how good their things are. 2 days. So after 2 days in the warp, you would have noticed the vibrations within the ship to know that you'd entered the warp on some terrible Monkai ship. Your wounds have not been properly seen to. At this point, you've had the most basic of first aids just to stop you from bleeding out or to stop you from getting an infected wound. After the 2 days, you come out of warp and you can feel the ship maneuvering. For those 2 days, you are in a cell on your own. Tied, bound. From your backstory, more than likely in pain. These 2 days have not been kind to you, as it appears your captors know quite a lot about some of your biology. Please roll me 2d5. You take 5 willpower damage for now. Just keep a note of it at the minute, because it's gonna change. So by the time you get to the planet, we'll see what the damage has been done. Fortunately, on the 3rd day, you were moved. You were taken out of your cell, and you were transported through this ship alone. No one else is transferred. However, as you come into essentially a docking bay for 2 Imperial ships to actually connect a bridge between them, there are hundreds of humans being clearly captives, clearly only being captive within a couple of weeks, given their state, but they are whimpering, crying. Some of them are begging and pleading. Others are still seem to have some fight in them. It's at this point that you are relieved from your starvation, as one of the Imperials is just, an Astartes comes up and just kicks him in the leg. His leg just snaps, bends round, kicking himself in the back with his heel, and he flies onto the floor, screaming in pain and agony. This shuts the rest of the Imperials up.
Okay. In that case, I technically feed them, right?
Yes.
Okay.
but it's far too short of a time for you to truly enjoy his suffering as you are pushed past this delectable little snack and are placed further into the ship. You're taken down to a large number of singular cells, and then it seems to open up into more of a storage containment area as the cells become larger and larger. You were taken to a cell where the door slides open and there is no one inside. You are thrown in. You're a Dark Eldar, they'd have you tied up pretty much. They'd throw you pretty hard because they're fuckers. Give me a toughness test as you hit the floor hard.
Okay. Toughness. Oh, baby. I'm good.
So as you are pushed down, perhaps it's your innate skills that you have acquired over the years, you're able to roll your shoulders and your body to to absorb most of the impact, although it still sounds as if you've come down fairly hard. But almost immediately as you come into this room, there is just this feeling of cattle waiting to go to the slaughterhouse, as there's just this delectable fear in the air. It's not long after the transfer of goods that the two ships disconnect and their warp drives begin to stir again. Once entering the warp, you spend 2 weeks in transit. In these 2 weeks... no sadness. I didn't put that in yet.
There's still the miasma here in the place. Is that another 2 weeks?
Yes, this will be another 2 weeks. So, for the next 2 weeks of transport, at the very least, this is important to Jim's character. 2 events happen. For the tech priest in the group, a Astartes enters your cell and grabs hold of one of the other tech priests, one of the few that remains, and takes him by the throat and drags him outside. The door slams shut. Give me a toughness test, Albie. This will be a +10, as you can just about make out this horrific sound. The thing that you can hear the most. Okay. Can you roll me a 1d3, please?
I feel like I'll become a heretic before the end of the session.
Maybe.
Hey, at least I'm not lobotomized yet.
Okay, so 1 was the best result you could have got. 2 is So this noise grips your systems, your internal mechanics, the implants, the blessings of the Omnisire that have been given to you shut down, or at the very least they try, as the sound penetrates your systems. You hear the tech priest outside scream, a blood-curdling scream coming from his voxcaster that slowly begins to change, almost as if the not voxcaster, actually it is a voxcaster, I think. So the cybernetic implant that allows them to speak binary, that sounds as if it's breaking, as if the tech priest has taken it to such a high pitch, such a blood-curdling scream. It's like a human's voice breaking, and then them being unable to speak or just being able to croak out words. You would then hear the Astartes cursing loudly before you just hear the sounds of something partially metal and partially fleshy being beaten against a cell wall. Jim, you're feeling quite happy at the moment as you've had a second feed. This is within a week. So
Okay.
let's have a look. There is no 1d7. We'll go with 1d8. So 6 days. You were fine on. You was fine on the first day, because you had got a feed. You have then gone. Oh yeah, 6 days. So can I get 65?
I'll roll 65. The thing is, I heal everything after I feed, so I would have taken 18.
Okay, but then you will again feed. And it's not long before the banging becomes a metal wet thud. Into your second week. The ship is vibrating quite heavily in the second week. For the second week, how many? Okay. So in the second week, the ship has begun vibrating. You're not entirely sure what this means. If any of you have any lore concerning it, probably to do with warp travel, or there's another one. Then you can roll it to try and figure out what's going on. You can give an intelligence test, but that will be, I believe it's at half intelligence.
Would it be common law tech or common law machine cult?
No, neither of those two. It is a warp travel, warp transit. It's anything to do with warp space or traveling through warp. Imperial Navy would also work.
Yeah, so just a flat int then?
Nope, you roll int off your character sheet and it will be at half.
I could offer you navigation stellar, but I can't see shit, so.
No, navigation stellar will work. Well, no, it's more the feeling, because you're feeling the vibrations through the ship. So unfortunately, the tech priest coming out of his shock much later on from the sounds of the heretical noises, you just can't think of what this shaking means. It's not normal, but you don't know. So, but fortunately, we do have another casualty, as a man is taken into, a prisoner is taken out of, a prisoner is taken out of the cells where our Mr. Geddy is currently holed up. A huge Astartes comes, and much like with the tech priests, one of the individuals is taken. A particularly plump and fat individual who would have spent much time trying to tell the captives there that he is a noble and he will give them anything that they desire if they can somehow get him out of this situation. He whinges and he whines as the Astartes grabs him by the throat, his neck almost breaking from the sheer weight of his rotund self, jiggling as the Astartes carries him out by his neck. You can hear whimpering and crying as the door shuts, and the Astartes begins to question this fat lump of a man. But the crying and sobbing only continues, and you would just make out, "The God Emperor protects!" as he screams this blubbery, jowly yelp, as you hear you'd hear, I don't know, an arm breaking. That's quite loud. I reckon you would just about hear like the sound of a pencil snap through the cell doors. But for those of you who know what that cracking snap sound is, you know that's got to be a lot louder in the hallway. More blubbering and crying as you hear something very large and blubbery. I can't remember what it's called. Basically, from where you are, well, where Geddy is, the sound of him blubbering gets further away. From where the cell that Jim's character is in, you hear this flub, blub, 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 as something very large has been thrown and just rolled down, making a squishy sound. There's just the sounds from someone who have had their teeth smashed in, just whimpering and sobbing, as more questions are asked, and then there is a very loud kind of the sound of a metal boot stamping on someone's shoulder. There's a delicious ecstasy of pain and torture for you to enjoy. You evil, evil creature. Jim. But it's on this day when the shuddering and shaking of the craft stops. In fact, it's only a few hours after the fatty met his end when the shaking stops. It's a couple more hours still when you are all taken out of your cells and led to a Argust or Arvest? I think it's an Argust lander. It might be an Arvest lander. Basically a big bulk transport craft. There's about 7 of you in total that are led down to the planet. Now, Jim, how are you hiding your device? That lovely little device that you need.
It's in my mouth. If I need to, I'll swallow it.
Okay. Jim, how are you hiding your items?
Me?
Sorry. Unit. How are you hiding your items that you wish to bring with?
She wouldn't have hit them. She would have just kept them in hand. With charm.
So you've kept it in your hand?
Yep, if they'd taken it from her, they took it from her.
Okay, and Albie, are you trying to bring anything?
No.
Okay. So, they don't seem to check you at this time. You are all chucked into a cargo area together. For the Imperials, there is a disgusting creature in the room with you. But you're all tied up, so it's a little bit difficult to do anything about it. There are servitors that have their guns trained on you. You've basically been put into the middle of the cargo area, and there are basically a servitor in each corner and one in the middle of each wall that are all pointed in on your position. For any of you who are thinking about gun logic here, yeah, no, Chaos are not that smart. Neither are servitors.
I mean, the caliber can be small enough that it doesn't pierce it.
No, if the gun servitors were all to fire like that, there'd be a good chance that they'd shoot the servitor opposite to them.
Oh, you meant it like that. Acceptable casualties.
They're in each corner and in each the center of each wall.
I mean, if you do shoot. Anyway, let's move on.
So, the ride down is particularly hair-raising. You are not strapped in. You have your hands bound at your fronts. They haven't been so dickish as to put your hands on your back, around your backs. Jim, they have been that dickish to you. Sorry.
I don't mind.
So, can everyone give me an agility test? For the Imperials, you have a +10. For the Dark Eldar, you have it at flat. You can use acrobatics or athletics if you wish, because you are trying to hold on or keep your balance as the ship is rocking from side to side and going up and down.
I do not have athletics, but I do have acrobatics, so I'll be using acrobatics. I'm not going to fate point that. I only have one fate point.
I'm going to roll
I have
Eddie's
something,
for
let
him
me check.
for this one. Let's have a look. Does he have... No, he does not. So his will be an agility then. Unless... Yeah, no, it'll be agility. This is going to be... he gets a +10 because he's an Imperial. Nope, okay. So can all of you mark down -2 HP? As you are flung around, knocking into each other. And basically, yeah, you're just smashing into each other, you're rolling around, you're hitting the floor. It is a very unpleasant time, but none of you has failed badly enough that you get flung over towards the servitors. It is a very, very violent landing. I cannot stress this enough. But as you finally do land, you're actually left there for a good half an hour, just in almost silence. The ship does seem to have taken some damage. There are hissing pipes and so on, but you don't hear your captors. And this would be the point when time has passed. A Astartes comes in with a number of humans at his side. The Astartes, in case you missed it, they are grey and black as a main colour, and then gold on the trim. This particular Astartes has adorned himself with a number of trophies. And he appears to have a cybernetic pet, I guess, with him. A creature sits upon his armoured pauldron. He has a skull in the centre of his chest, with chains that come out from the corners, binding it to his chest. It's not a human skull, it is a metal skull. He looks at all of you, and looking down at the humans, they quake. They like quake as he looks down. All but one, a almost a rogue trader like individual. If it weren't for his the grubbiness of his clothes, you would definitely think this man is of good stock.
I don't think Abby would quake either because she can't fucking see.
No, it would just be for the pirates. They basically quaked as the
Oh, okay.
Astartes has looked down at them. And yeah, they quickly take about their business and they start going into the center of the group, all of you, and they start picking some of you up. Basically checking all of you. So I will do some rolls. I just need to find pirate faction. However, you would hear the Astartes say this.
Take special care with that one. You must break her will. Break her body. Make her ours. But do not kill her. That one there. It is a gift. Work it hard, but don't kill it. The rest I care not for. Understood?
Yes, sir. Yes, of course, my lord. Whatever you command.
Does he point at me?
He gestures at you with his head. He doesn't deem to point. He's just like, that one. And the
Okay.
But you would notice that the rogue trader-esque looking individual, the pirate captain, he stares directly at you.
Okay.
And he stares directly at Abby as well, unit.
Abby can see.
Yeah, I can't see.
You know, the rest of the group are aware that that there are two special snowflakes in the group, and they know that they're not them.
I'll sneer just a tiny bit.
So, can I get a 1d4 off of each of you? Again, a 1 is the best. Hey, well, Getty might be safe.
Come on, Albie. You should have rolled a 4. I'm joking.
Maybe he's not going to be safe, actually. I don't know what he's trying to hide, so I'm just going to put it like that for now, flat. But I will give him negatives as and when it sees fit. I know Mr. Jim, who will make himself known at one point, had rolled 2.
Roll 2. If they see them, searching as well. It's the size of a thumb drive, so.
And what was the other one we had? We had a 3 and then a 1. So let's get that scummer back. Where's the scummer? Come here, scum. Give you another one. Technically he doesn't actually have to, but he might get an actual 100 and think that the tech priest is hiding something. This is always possible. And oh, actually, yeah, Abby's gonna be quite safe, to be honest with you.
Well, she isn't hiding it, She's just keeping it in her palm.
So, Geddy is completely safe. Oh. Oh dear. So, Jim, you would notice that as the pirates are beginning to pick individuals up, that they do begin checking them as well. A particularly disgusting mutant comes over to you that has the term you give humans, monkey. This one looks like a monkey.
I
A really
swallowed. I'm just gonna...
scrawny, skinny, scraggly looking monkey with a hideously, furry tail. He looks over to you and smiles and opens up his mouth and points to you to do the same.
I swallowed, so I'll do the same.
You swallowed? Okay then. He sees you swallowing.
I mean, at the moment they started the inspection, I swallowed. That's what I said. So.
But that's not how the game works, Jim. That's not how the game works. You were trying to hide something. You got a minus for it, but he rolled well. So he begins screaming and shouting as he grabs you and starts heaving on your stomach, screaming at you to cack it up.
Okay, can I headbutt him?
Your arms around your back, and he's got you from behind, basically giving you the Heimlich maneuver to try and to get you to cough it back up. You can, if you wish.
Can I just squirm out of him then instead of acrobatics?
Hang on a second. Let me see. You can attempt to with a minus 20. You are tied. You're tied up, and he has succeeded in his strength test to hold on to you.
Oh no. Okay.
Okay, can I get a toughness test? Or would you like to try and headbutt him?
I mean, he's humping me, so...
Basically, yep.
I squirm. No, I'm not gonna headbutt him. I just try to squirm. So, toughness?
Okay, yep, toughness test. It's not going to be that difficult, so I'll give you a plus 20. Okay, as this mutant thing is screaming out, constantly pushing on your stomach, trying to make you be sick, you just hold fast and struggle to keep it down. Would it be the pirate scum? Yeah, it'd be one of the pirate scums. So seeing this going on, one of the pirate scums draws his knife, comes over to you, and it looks like for a moment he's going to slit your belly when the Astartes...
Stop what you are doing. Do not damage the merchandise. It is a gift. You fucking moron.
I hope this has gone back. There we go, now it has. The pirate scum, shaking, drops his knife as the Astartes' voice booms. He drops his knife as the Astartes is talking. He doesn't even get, hold on to it for the first sentence. Before it's just the first syllable. He's the Astartes comes over to you and backhands you. This is a strike to stun. Essentially, give me a toughness test. Minus 10.
Boy. Here we go. Oh,
Okay, your eyes are spinning. There's this horrific clapping slap sound. Take 2 HP off. But you do not black out. You know, perhaps you take a knee from the blow, but you're just able to stay conscious and you don't throw up. The pirate scum and the we'll call him pirate mutant for now. The pirate mutant grabs hold of you and they basically drag you out.
okay. I mean, I'm currently incapable of doing anything, so.
I know. They're cruel. No one called out any other actions that they wanted to do. I will give Geddy a roll to see if he wants to do anything when he is back.
He apparently won't be able to come back.
Yeah, I just noticed that. No. Okay. So, you were led out of the Argus lander. For Jim's character, this is all kind of, you're still with it. You haven't blacked out, but your head is spinning at the moment. So you come out into this mountainous, really dry, hot climate. There is a breeze that is coming off the coast, but it's, by the time it gets to you, it is quite slight. But this is probably some of the clearest air our Imperials have ever breathed. As you look around, this is no world that you recognize. There are no real land markings anywhere around that you can see. It is just mountainous terrain and greenery in the distance. The mountains themselves, this is quite a harsh terrain. There's not that much growing, but in the distance, as you look out, there is just green on the horizon.
Do I hear anything?
You'd hear the sounds of the engines sprawling down still, just the whirring of the turbines and things of that nature. You'd hear a lot of guys just, come on, get moving, you fucking keep walking. Things like that. But apart from that, they are directing you, Abby. They are kind of walk that way. They kind of get the fact that you can't see. Yeah, so as you guys look around at the surrounding sides, you're led off. You can hear the sounds of water running somewhere close-ish by. And as you come round, it's a mild hill. It's just enough to shield about 60% of the Argus lander from view. The top half of it is clearly visible from this very large stone building. It is clearly old Terran. It is clearly old Terran. And it's nothing like most of you have. It's not an Imperial manufactured prefab building. It is cut from stone. It is worn by time, weather, and it looks like some natural disasters have struck it throughout the maybe millennia. And there's a hive of a small hive of stuff happening. You can see the other really shabby, bedraggled humans and some abhumans you're not quite sure of. Just look at you with gaunt, staring eyes, dragging tools. They look truly malnourished and just on their last legs. You see in the distance, or some of you do, there's actually a human who is just collapsed. They seem to be carrying something shiny. You don't quite get a good glimpse of it as they just collapse, falling onto the shiny thing, and then there's a pool of blood. Must have been sharp. Yeah. And this is where you're led into the building. You get your first ideas of the building's layout. You're taken through a number of rooms, holding cells, storage areas that appear to be empty now. But you can see that there's a lot of dust debris on the floor. So perhaps they've emptied these areas out today, and then they're bringing you guys in. But you are dumped in your cells. And this is where we bring you over to your first map. So sadly, we'll be using the light system next time. So that will be in the game, but for now I shall have to reveal things to you as and when we go. So I will give you some more sight lines. And we'll chuck the rogue trader in the corner, because apparently this whole ordeal has left him a little faint. A little faint. He didn't quite do so well. So this will be your first chance to actually talk to each other. I do realise that Geddy's missing. One of our. In fact, our face is missing. Makes things awkward.
Currently, I kind of swallowed my translator.
So you can, at the very least, I'll give you this, you can hear people moving around in the corridor. When you came out, it looked as if it was about midday.
Okay. Are we still bound, by the way?
Yes, you are.
Can I attempt acrobatics to basically, move my hands under my legs and,
Sure.
have my hands in front of me?
Sure, you can do that. Plus 30. I've done it with handcuffs. It's not that difficult.
Apparently, it is quite difficult for me because my rolls today are not that great. But I do it.
So it takes you a little bit longer than you figured. You were like, okay, they've actually tied my arms further up. They haven't tied them at your wrists. They've tied them more closer towards your elbow. And you're like, motherfuckers, this is going to be really eh. So it takes you a little bit longer than you expected. But your hands are now at the front of you.
Cool. Are there any cameras in my room, by the way?
No. As you look around your room, or for those of you who can't see, if you feel the walls and the stonework around you, it is actually a cut and dressed stone. For those of you who can see, you have an iron, like this is almost like medieval type construction, or at least maybe stories of the savage feral welders who live in stone buildings. But yeah, it's a steel, at least you think it's steel, gate with a door in it and a stone room.
Hmm. Is there a bucket of water or something along those lines here?
Yeah, sure. Every cell will have a bucket. Inside the bucket, you will find a small. They're pirates. They're not actually savages. So yeah, you'd find a small bottle of water. Not quite a cantina, but still a reusable bottle.
Okay.
There's enough water in each one for half a person.
Lovely. Hmm. Hmm. I'm gonna move closer to the cell door, and I'm gonna look around, see what I see. There are any good gods and stuff like that? Hmm. Hmm.
Sorry, when I actually get you onto a map with sight lines, it will actually make things a little bit easier.
It's all
Or
good.
harder. We'll have to see.
So there are gods everywhere.
At the minute, yes. You can see that some of them are opening cells up, and other individuals who came with you are being chucked inside.
Okay. I'm gonna move to the back of my cell again, and
You can hear
I'll just
whimpering
wait.
and crying coming from the cells next to you. They sound much higher pitched, perhaps women. You can also hear. In fact, I actually deleted a lot of the tokens because I didn't think I'd need them. But there are other people being. You can hear them at the very least, so the stream can see. Actually, zoom out a bit. There we go. Over here, and over here. There's more sounds of just crying and whimpering, and you can hear the shuffling of more feet coming in and out. This goes on for about 20 minutes before the guards actually seem to leave, or at the very least, they're changing shifts.
Okay. I'm gonna move back to the front of the cell, and I'm gonna start counting on my hand how long they're gonna be. Can I see the very tip of a dude here. Can I still see him?
You just make him out disappearing off as he takes some sort of glow stick out of his pocket.
Okay. I'm gonna move to the far corner of my cell, and I'm gonna try to vomit. I'll just
Abby just
check
sits
myself.
in the back of his cell and quietly prays to herself.
Taking a finger way down the windpipe.
Sure, you give that thing at the back of your throat a little tickle, you start tickling it and caressing it, and you're like, come on. Perhaps you drink some of your water and. Should I don't know how. I'm not going to make you test roll for this. It takes you a little bit. Perhaps it's your biology. Perhaps it's something else. It takes you a little bit, and some people can just hear this. But eventually, there's this. As you bring forth this disgusting, dripping pile of your stomach's contents and a small device.
I'll take the small device, wick it clean, pour a bit of water on it, and stick it back in my mouth. And then I'll go back to the front of the cell and look around.
Sure, you can see a rogue trader who seems to be in in shock at the moment. Maybe he's trying to contemplate something. Maybe he's kind of knees up, head in his hands, and is just muttering to himself.
Okay. Can I squeeze my head a bit into the thing to look over here and see what's on the table? If it's just nothing, but I'm just gonna try to work my way into untying myself.
Yeah, you can just about see the table, and there doesn't seem to be anyone around it. It looks as if there's just a couple of cups there, and an ashtray over filled with low stick butts. But apart from that, it doesn't seem to be in use. And at the moment, you don't hear any guards in the area.
Okay. How well illuminated is this cave? The cell?
How?
Yeah, for Monkai. For me, I can see, but are there
how
light
well
sources?
lit is it?
Yeah.
So the cells don't actually have lights in them, but there are lumen globes on the walls. So like there's a lumen globe on this wall, there'll be a lumen globe on this wall, there'll be a lumen globe over here, and working their way down. They are very old. They are not giving off brilliant light. So even though there's one across from you, like the back of your cell is still kind of dark. If you've ever walked along underneath a street lamp that's like 20, 30 years old, you're just like, what the fuck is it? Like an orange light that just doesn't illuminate anything.
Gotcha. It is good to hear. I'm gonna move to the side of my cell, and I'm just gonna be observing these primitives over here. Because one of them seems to be in shock, and the other two, one seems blind, the other one just twisted metal man.
Does the metal man do anything?
Metal man is just sitting in the corner, watching everything going down.
You're watching a rogue trader sitting quiet contemplation, struggling to deal with the situation, perhaps. Someone who can't see just sat in the corner mumbling prayers to herself, and a dark Eldar looking over at you like, huh, it's a strange Monkai.
Abby would seem pretty calm though.
I mean, whoever looks at me, I'm technically smiling because there are people whimpering next to me. I'm just gonna be observing them from my corner of the cell, and I'll be trying to basically untie my hands, even if it's just a little bit. If it's rope, if it's manacles, I'm not gonna do anything yet.
It probably would be manacles, to be entirely honest with you. They wouldn't really. They know how dangerous you are. Same with the Imperials. They'd probably actually have manacles on their hands, not ropes. Because I was thinking, if they used ropes on you, you could technically cut them on the stone, on the edges of the cut stones. But why would they use rope? They can use manacles.
Actually, can I move my hand?
Your hands are in front of you, but they're manacled together.
So I can lift them and, touch the collar around my neck?
Yes.
I'm guessing Abby would be pretty certain that that's why she has a raging headache and can't see?
Yes. You would notice that the collar has been screwed on. There are bolts there that are clearly being tightened. So it's not just a leather strap that you can untie.
problem currently is that I don't know anything about this facility, so I don't want to escape. So I want to just observe my surroundings as much as I can.
Okay, sure. So if no one wants to try anything,
Also,
pass
just one question about the manacles. Are they basically outdated but futuristic manacles, or
they're basically the type of manacles that you would get in Dark Heresy. So they are Imperial standard, so they're not like our manacles of today. They are a little bit more robust, shall we say.
but are their shapes basically the same?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the shapes are basically the same. It's a manacle that goes over. Well, for you, it's gone up onto the forearm and then round, and it's clapped on quite tight. For you, uncomfortably tight. They don't like your people.
Okay, so it's not a case of just dislocating myself and pulling my hand out.
No.
Gotcha.
The Imperials could technically attempt that because their manacles are further to the wrists. But for you, it seems as if they know that your people are rather agile. They're looking at the Imperials going, those stiff fuckers won't be able to get out. Watch the dark... I nearly said the dark-skinned one. No. Watch the really pale one. The really pale one. That one. Watch her.
Yeah. Too early for me to attempt anything. I'm just observing.
So a number of hours go by. More people are dragged in. And they are chucked into the cell next to you. Did I actually get those? No, I didn't. I do have their tokens. There's one in particular that you would want to be able to see. And he is a... Where is he? So essentially the humans that are led in to this cell here are kind of your bog standard human. The only thing is with them is they all seem to have really, really odd skin. As in, it seems very thick and leathery. Their garb is... their clothing is very, very primitive. We're talking like a weaved Hessian in some cases, flax, that kind of material. It, for the Imperials who see them walking by, I mean, it basically is the mailman. This is like feral, feudal world kind of materials. For the Dark Elder, I mean, these are savages of the greatest savage degree. However, one does come through that clearly stands out from the rest. He does not look exactly like his token. He looks like this, but his why is he so small? Oh, because I took him from a token from a there it is. What was the one to show token?
Alt click, I think.
No, I can't
no.
remember. I'll zoom in.
Oh no, I'll remember for you.
So,
Shift Alt, maybe something like that.
He is basically a beast man. However, he is far more bedraggled. He looks as if he's on his last legs. Incredibly grey hair. Like, you can just about make out his original colour. But he is clearly old for his species. As he's dragged past your cells, you actually see him begin sniffing the air. he looks over towards the metal man, giving you a very odd look, for being, bashed by a guard, by a pirate, and being shoved into a cell. He doesn't stay in, he doesn't stay in the back of the cell. Once he gets pushed in, there are a number of humans. I can't find the human portraits that I was going to use, but he comes to the front. Oh, that's why they're not tokens. They're I want the slaves. That's the one. Give me the slaves. Slaves.
Yeah, you can expand it and show the token to everybody by Shift Z and clicking the token, or having the tokens selected. There you go. That is Heinrich.
There we go. For some reason, I was clicked on his token. I was clicked on the Beastman's token, but it just would not show the Beastman. I had to click on him again. I also deleted Heinrich, so I have to put him back.
No.
Oh, I can't even bother.
He just
to put
disappears
slaves in.
on himself.
He escaped. Master of skill. I can't bother to put the other tokens in, so that he can just stay there. He stares at you, Jim, sniffing the air. He gives, like, his heckles go up as he kind of snarls in your direction, and you, not, Ihan, you, not, Here, yeah. He starts pointing at you and saying words that you do not understand.
He just looks like a primitive.
Just ooh-woo back at him.
Don't think I'm gonna do that, no.
What does Muttermouth have? He has... So, which is low Gothic? No, he has Gutter Tongue. Okay. So, as he's speaking, like, you have no idea what he's saying. For Albie and for Unit, you hear this weird language that you've never heard before, but something now and then sounds familiar. And then you hear Usted nas is Zenos. Ze nodo. Ah. He starts pointing up at the sky.
I'm gonna gently rub my face. It's probably still red because I just got bitch slapped. I'll spit the thingy on my hand. I'm gonna raise it to my ear and I'm gonna click it so I can understand what it's saying.
It has no idea. It tells you unknown language. It would pick up a couple of low Gothic words that it's. So I imagine this technology has quite a broad, because low Gothic changes depending on which planet or system you're in. There's slight differences, colloquial meanings differently. Every planet has a different name for certain things. That's just how the Imperium
Even
is.
ships have their own dialect.
Yeah, exactly. But there are still commonalities. He says the like 3 words that it gathers are 1, Xenos, alien, sky, and ground.
I'm gonna raise an eyebrow, look at him, and think, Oh, he's probably saying that I'm not from this place. I'm from the sky. I'm a Xenon. Of course, primitives would be like that.
Unfortunately, your interaction is broken by one of the humans in the cell starting to just scream the top of his lungs. He then starts smashing his head against the stone wall. The Beastman attempts to stop him, but before he can actually stop him, the guards come in. It would be 2 of you and 1 of you. No, okay, I misclicked. So they don't phase through walls. 3 guards come along. Sure.
If I hear people coming, if I hear footsteps, I'm putting the thing back in my mouth, and I'm moving to the back of my cell.
Sure, you can do that. 2 of the guards open the door. Sorry, 1 guard opens the door as 1 is holding a only Jim can really see this, so it's a weird crude weapon. A weird double-barreled pistol type thing. You don't know, it's primitive looking. Whereas the orangutan man, the bestial pirate, comes in with a spear. Basically, the door opens up. The monkey man kind of steps as far into the cell as he wants to go, basically the doorway, and just stabs his spear straight through the man's neck. The screaming stops, which seems to make the pirates happy as they shut the door after he retrieves his spear from the man's neck. They leave with the man just gurgling on the ground. And you can hear them basically saying, "Fucking noisy cunts. Next one that does that, we'll slit them. We'll have some fun with them."
I'm gonna move closer to the dog. Because they stabbed the dog, right?
Nope. They stabbed a human individual inside the cells. There's maybe 3 or 4. I didn't put their tokens in. I couldn't be bothered to resize them.
Sorry.
There's 3 or 4 slaves. Basically, their skin is very odd, thick, really harsh looking. Like they don't have normal human skin from what you can see. Oh well, these will do. There's 2 who are just in absolute exhaustion. They also seem to have some sort of mental problems, as they both have like tics and twitches. But the 3rd individual is now on the floor, kind of gurgling in his own blood. Jim, you would see the beast man actually comes over, grabs his neck, and just yanks it as hard as he grabs the chin and just rips it round, snapping his neck. He then goes on his haunches and appears to do a prayer. Can you give me an awareness check?
Everyone or just Jim?
Just Jim, because he's the only one who can see. Yeah, because it wouldn't be. Oh, sorry, you can get plus 20 on that, because it's not difficult.
Wait, plus 20? And
yes, plus 20.
Okay, hold up. Let me just see, because then my target number would be 69. I still failed, unfortunately.
Okay, yeah, you just can't make out. He seems to go down onto one knee. He's muttering something. He closes the man's eyes, and then he does something with his hands, but you can't make out what it is. Before he kind of just sits with his back against the wall, just staring down at the individual's corpse.
I do have heightened senses sound. Would I be able to hear the prayer?
Oh, okay. Roll me awareness with. I'll give you a plus 10.
I technically have plus 10 for sight and sound too, but I still managed. Then again, you are far closer, and you actually understand the language.
Oh no, he doesn't understand the language either. It is bastardized. He's speaking.
Wow.
Oh.
I rolled
So
a 3.
this individual is speaking. He's speaking gutter tongue, which is so he was speaking festic, slurry tongue. Now he's speaking gutter tongue. The parts of your translator, that was the 3 words that it was able to translate, it can basically tell you the language that it's come from, and that is Low Gothic, but it's a bastardized Low Gothic. So
Okay.
the Low Gothic prayer that he is saying, so there's a number of words that you just don't understand. They could mean this, it could mean something else. Without context, it's just noise. But then you do hear what is it? It's so protect his soul upon his arrival at your side. And then there's a couple of words which again you just don't understand, and then praise him in his light.
Abby is going to say a little louder than her mutterings, because she was just talking to herself, but now she's actually going to speak out loud and say, "The Emperor protects," as he finishes the prayer.
So Jim, you would see the beast man like look round, clearly knowing, like you can see his ears twitch round. One ear goes towards the entrance of the cell, the other one towards the wall. And he looks round, but there's a puzzled look on his face, like when a dog looks at you and has a puzzled look on its face. That kind of tilts his head like, almost as if recognizing something, but then like focusing on the individual in front of him.
I'm going to sigh and then look at the other cell and look back at him. I don't understand what's being said because my translator is like in my mouth. I'll take it out and keep it like next to my ear so I understand what's going on. I need to learn this filthy language if I am to live here.
So a few moments go by when he gets up and he moves to the side to the cage door. He does have to do. Okay, I'm going to do this off of. This is not his name. He's just another beast man. Well, he's a named beast man, so there's a difference. He only has. They're not intelligent creatures. This is not going to go well. He'll do an intelligence test. It's going to be halved, but I doubt he actually has any fortune points to use at this point. We'll say he has 1. We'll give him 1 chance. Holy fucking shit. Okay. Okay, I guess
bad.
he rolled a 10?
You rolled a 20.
Oh, I thought it was minus. I thought it was half your intelligence when you rolled off the stats.
I don't know. If you're rolling just the base stat, you don't take any negative.
Oh. Oh, okay. Oh, so it just okay, fair enough.
Unless you're using a skill, but he's not using a skill, right?
No, where he's using his innate intelligence and what he knows of different languages on world. So he says in Low Gothic, on this world, Low Tongue, "Where you from? Not here. Smell. Wrong."
Is he looking at me?
No, he's trying to look round at the other cell.
You hear a distracted voice. Yes, this is correct. Where are we from? I don't know.
He seems to really be struggling. Like, you can, when you look over at him, Jim, he's really struggling and trying to rack his brain and... Not from here. Not from planes. Where from? He looks over at Jim and he points at you to the sky. Xenos sky. He kind of points through the wall and points up at the sky. Sky.
I'm just gonna raise an eyebrow and look at him.
Abby's going to move to the front corner of the cell, and she's going to answer, "Oh, we arrived on a ship."
Tuta. He gestures to you, Jim.
Yeah.
He basically makes the sign of a ship on the sea.
I'm just going to smirk and cock my head to the side and then nod yes.
He goes down on his haunches, and sits there for a moment thinking, and then shakes his head. Not no people of sea.
I'm gonna take the translator unit from my ear, look at him like, what the fuck did he just say?
The only parts it would have translated is him meaning to the other people in the cell, he doesn't know the people of the sea.
Okay. I just move it back to my ear. And then, again, I'm not saying anything. I'm just looking.
Abby is going to try and correct him. Just say that we didn't come from the sea, but we came from the sky. We traveled through space.
He looks angrily over at you, Jim. Not
I smile.
Sea, you sky. And he's pointing to the wall, as in, Abby wouldn't even see. He's like putting his arm through the cage and pointing at over at this side. He's like, not sea, sky.
I'm just gonna, bloody primitive, and I'm just gonna look at him and nod yes, and then I'm gonna point up.
He turns round and tries to shake the other two in his cell. But as he shakes them, like the one in this one here starts cowering and trembling in fear. The next one, he goes over to his haunches and tries to like just get his attention, just like waving his hand in front of his face, and the guy just keeps looking away, just keeps turning until he actually turns into the corner of the room. The beast man kind of gives a whimpering howl slightly. It's like a sound of frustration as he comes back over to the cage door and goes back onto his hunches, just staring, like trying to. It looks like he's trying to think of the words needed to say, but doesn't know them.
I mean, I'm just staring at him, not saying anything.
Do you want to give me an intimidate check?
Sure. I don't have my voice activated. I'm not changing my voice, and I'm not saying anything. It's just intimidating, so I don't get a +10. Intimidate. This is not going to go extremely well, but hey.
He fails a lot worse than you do. So as you give each other a staring contest, you see his hackles and the side of his jaw like start to rise. There's a little as he seems to think you're trying to like prove that you're the alpha, and then you give him an intense crazy stare, and his ears kind of go down a little bit, and he lowers his head slightly and his posture changes.
I'm going to start dreaming as he does that.
He goes over to the corner and sits down. Now, sadly, a few hours go past until there's any more sounds coming. But Jim, you would hear the sounds of the doors opening. The talking, movement, sounds are all going on down here. And they seem to be moving closer and closer and closer.
In my mouth, back to the corner of the cell.
Until you see... Ooh, Alex, grab the slave girl. Don't want the slave girl. You stay there, my darling.
Abby is going to move further back as well.
A group
half of it.
Come through. They have a bucket with them and numerous bowls. And one of the men opens the door as another individual gets handed bowls of slop and puts them in the door, in the entrance to the door. There are 3 bowls of slop there, and essentially another half bucket of water gets put in to your cell, and then they move on. The cell door closes, they move along. A bowl of basically gruel is given to Jim's character, along with a quarter bucket of water, and the same for the next cell and the next cell. You would probably hear... No, they would. So as the pirates come back towards your way after dishing out tonight's meal, you would hear, I believe... which one are you again? Because we've got the mutant. I think this is the slicer. Yes, it is the slicer. So, one individual who seems to be carrying a... So, they basically have a crude cybernetic arm. But the cybernetic arm, there's no hand there. There's just a spinning blade. It's not spinning at the moment. But it is a cybernetic. Oh, sorry. They're also holding in their other hand what appears to be a shotgun automatic. I'm going to have to double check that later. It's a pistol. I think that's right. Probably by far the most advanced weapon you've seen so far, except from what the Astartes was wearing. She, I believe it's a she, sneers at you newcomers, and don't worry, my pets. We'll be working you hard tomorrow. You get tonight to get used to the planet. But trust me, you'll wish you were back on that ship. Oh, you'll wish you were back on that ship. Don't think that just because our Lord told us we have to keep you two safe. She hits the cell door of your cell, Jim, with her augmetic arm, and the arm starts up with a zzz. We just have to keep you alive, that's all. And you there. Thought you were special, sending your little messages. Well, not so special now that you're blind, eh, bitch? Zzz. She actually runs the augmetic, the spinning blade next to the steel bars, and it sends a shower of sparks over your way, Abby. But we'll break you. We break everyone who comes here. We're not good with our toys, you see. But you'll find out tomorrow. Bit of advice, though. Don't touch the crystals. We got others for that. Hey, you. Beast man, your turn's coming up, isn't it? You can't resist it forever. Fucking mutants. As she says that, the monkey man is like, huh? You heard me, you fucking scrubs. They make their way off. So, I think I've dragged this out as long as I really would like to. Missing Geddy, our talkie man, is going to slow down the group a little bit. So, for now, we're going to end the session there. In the next episode, well, basically time is going to pass. We're going to come into your first night will have passed on the world. So actually, for the rest of you, except from Abby, you have some really freakish dreams. Some really freaky. I mean, for you, Jim, these are going to be odd, maybe not freakish, but at least for Albie and Geddy's character, these would be really freakish, almost like premonition type. They're dreams, but they're dreams of this planet. So for Albie, you basically are asleep and then you're on this world and you see massive explosions happening, like war zone type explosions, like Imperator class devastation going on in the distance. And then you see other factions that seem to be fighting each other. But who are they? What's going on? And everything seems so weird, and your vision seems to be red.
These cybernetics need recalibration.
If only, as there's a flash and you jerk yourself awake and it's morning. Well, that was weird. And for you, Jim, you are in what seems to be the middle of a battle. Like, you can see what appears to be human troops, human and abhuman troops, or human and Xenos. You're not quite sure. This red haze is all over your vision, and it seems really difficult to focus. And as you look around, and well, that's a monkey. He's slow and pathetic. It's got to be a monkey. Well, hang on. Well, that one's kind of dog-like. Didn't I meet a mutant thing like that? And as you turn around to this screaming horror sound next to you, you are shaken awake as the thing that was next to you was a creature of chaos. A beast of chaos, to be more precise. Fortunately, there's no insanity for you or for the others. Just an unpleasant night's sleep for all but one of you. And we'll find out in the next episode how our rogue trader did, if he actually managed to do anything else. And I'll disappoint some of the characters by letting them know that they could have done some things. But for now, this is the first shorter episode of our first rogue trader game. Yeah, I think I said that wrong, but fuck it. I certainly hope you enjoyed this shorter opening to our first episode, and I'm looking forward to the second episode, where hopefully our gang will get to talk and get to know each other a little bit better. Maybe learn some things about what's going on. Without further ado, thank you all so much for joining me here. Take care, everyone, and as always, bye-bye for now.
See ya.